I want to hop on here and talk about this real quick because I just read a very scary verse in the Quran. So this is Surah Al-Hadid, chapter 57, verses 13 and 14. On that day, the day of judgment, hypocritical men and women, munafiqun wal munafiqat, will beg the believers, wait for us so that we may have some of your light. So the believers are going into Jannah, going towards the light, and the hypocrites are begging them to have some of their light. And then it will be said mockingly to the hypocrites, go back to the dunya and seek for light there. And then a separating wall with a gate will be erected between them, between the believers, the mu'minin wal mu'minat, and the hypocrites, munafiqun wal munafiqat. So on the near side of the gate, where the believers are, there will be grace. And on the far side of the gate, where the hypocrites are, there will be torment. Now verse 14, this is when it gets scarier. The tormented will cry out to those who were graced, to the believers, were we not with you? And the believers will reply, saying, yes, you were, but you chose to be tempted by hypocrisy, and you eagerly waited our demise, and you doubted the truth, and you were deluded by false hope, all until Allah's decree of your death came to pass. So 4 things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about hypocrites. Number 1, you tempted yourselves. Number 2, you awaited the believer's demise. You awaited the believer's destruction. Number 3, you doubted the truth. You were doubtful of the truth. And number 4, you were deluded by false hopes. In his interpretation, in his tafsir, Ibn Kathir says that the last part is referring to hypocrites being deceived by the hopes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive their sins. They were deceived by wishful thinking. They were deceived by the hopes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive their sins. These are empty hopes for them. And this is so scary to me because we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness and mercy all the time. We quote Surah Az-Zumar, verse 53, all the time. Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. He is the most forgiving and the most merciful. But Allah is not just Ghafurur Rahim. He is not just all forgiving, all merciful. That's not all that He is. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, chapter 5, verse 98, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, know that Allah is Shadidul Iqab, severe in punishment, and Ghafurur Rahim, and all forgiving and merciful. We don't talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being Shadidul Iqab as much as we talk about Him being Ghafurur Rahim. When in actuality, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He is severe in punishment and He is all forgiving. These 2 properties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are mentioned side by side in this verse. And that's why the fear of Allah's severe punishment and the hope for His forgiveness and mercy has to be side by side. We can't fear His punishment without being hopeful of His forgiveness, and we can't hold on to His forgiveness without the fear of His punishment. And that's why we're told, ittaqillah, fear Allah, because Allah is severe in His punishment. He is shadidul iqab.